Gemma, I love the way this tale unravels, kind of bookended by 2 centuries, as it were. And to me, it felt as much a tale about storytelling itself as the characters, and just wondered what it was that really drew you to Maura Buffini's screenplay. And of course, she wrote Tomorrow Drew, which you're in as well.
Yeah, actually, when we were shooting Tomorrow Drew, she told me about this script that she was writing. She said, "I'm writing." I said, "What are you writing now?" And she said, "I'm writing a vampire story." And I went, "Why?" You know. And she said, "No, it's really different." And then we left it at that. And actually, when the script, I first read it, it was very different to how it actually ended up being. It was very much about this young woman who was the Eleanor character who was very damaged and psychologically damaged, and we didn't know if she was really a vampire or not. And it was about this kind of weird relationship between mother and daughter. And actually, as the film progressed into a vampire film, that still remained the point for me. It absolutely was that. And when you're playing a vampire, you can't think, "Oh, I'm playing a vampire." You just are a vampire, you know. So that was something that, you know, became a practical thing. But the very heart of it was this relationship, this complex relationship. So that's what really got me, actually, being from a single parent family and growing up with my mum and my sister. It was a very personal project.
I think mother-daughter relationships can be fraught even at the best of times, can't they? But obviously, they've been living together for about 200 years.
I know. I think that's the ultimate horror.
How would you kind of describe the dynamics as we meet them when the film opens? They're kind of on the run again, aren't they, as well?
Yeah, they're always on the run their whole life, and especially it's not so much of a big deal for Clara because she's very much a survivor. She's a forward-thinking person. She doesn't dwell and she doesn't like to be settled. But for Eleanor, I think, who likes to, luxuriate, she likes classical music, she likes to learn, she likes to write and tell stories. They're very conflicting in what they want and trapped by one another. Neither of them can progress in their lives because they both have this sort of tie to one another. And I think that's an interesting thing, actually, is, when you're 16, growing up, and your mother is sort of unsure whether to let you go or to keep you, and it's very complicated, and I don't think many films look at that. So it was nice to have the opportunity to do that.
And the two of you work absolutely brilliantly together on screen.
Yeah.
As a character, Clara, obviously, rather than just literal blood-sucking, she also uses men for other resources as well. Can you tell us a bit about her relationship with Noel, as we see that in the film played by Daniel Mays?
Yeah, she has to make money, and she always has to find somewhere to live, and she sort of she sees this weak, desperate guy. She pities him. She feels sorry for him, but she also knows that she can manipulate him to get what she wants. And he has a guest house that's disused, and she kind of seduces him into turning it into a brothel, which he does. He goes along with, kind of gets sucked in by her persuasiveness. He's also such a likeable character. He's sort of hopeless, and I think the audience really sort of feels sorry for him, and so does Clara. So I really love that relationship, and Danny he's played by Danny Mays, and he's a terrific actor.
And your Oscar and BAFTA-winning director, Neil Jordan, has made several of my favourite films, actually. How much of a fan of his previous work were you? Can you tell us about collaborating with him on Byzantium?
Well, I've been a fan of Neil since I was 16. I remember watching Company of Wolves and actually devised a physical theatre piece around it. And I remember it having quite an impact on me. And then as time went on, I've always loved his magic realism stuff, even up to, Undine, which I thought was such a beautiful movie. Not many people saw it. But it was a real dream for me to work with someone like him. His visual style is something that really captivates me. He pushes boundaries and he looks at things from a different point of view and takes risks, and and his movies say something. They really mean something. So to work with him was as equally a rewarding experience as watching one of his movies, and I loved every second of it.
And films that sort of say something and mean something, would that really encapsulate what you're looking for when you're choosing scripts now and what to devote your time to? Obviously, you've done massive Hollywood movies. You still do a lot of movies based in the UK as well. So imagine you've got quite a spectrum of work to pick from.
Yeah, I think now I'm definitely veering towards just stuff that I feel passionate about. I kind of feel a little bit tired of the Hollywood bit for the moment, but really there's some, I think when you start saying to the world, I want to do stuff that's interesting and different and genre pushing and working with great directors and great actors, then it starts to kind of come to you. And I've been very lucky in the last few projects I've worked on. This was the real first one for me that I felt like this is what I really want to say. So I'm really proud of it. And yeah, hopefully that it will continue in that vein.
Gemma Arterton, congratulations on the film. All
Thank
the best.
you.
See you soon.
Thank
Bye.
you.